on YouTube. Maybe it's just United FM.
Refresh this, please. Quickly. God damn it. Yeah, god damn it, right. There it goes. Okay, going on 12 seconds. Ready?
Go.
Roll the credits. Yep.
All right, there we go.
We're here.
Welcome to the show.
Okay,
A little bit late, but we're on.
That's my fault, guys.
That's not your fault. You know, it is what it is.
Hey, we have captions.
I don't have captions.
I have captions.
Wow, we get this whole new program today, and it's pretty cool. It's taking a little bit to figure it out, but it's pretty cool. Holy crap.
So if you are watching us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, I am
Instagram.
monitoring. Yes, I am monitoring the comments, at least on Facebook and YouTube. I don't know how to do that on Twitter yet, but join us. We're going to have some cool things today, so.
Yeah, we got a very interesting show today.
Yeah.
But before we do that, just remember, Project Arrowhead is brought to you by the Lansdowne Pub, the #1 dining destination at the Mohegan Sun Casino, located in Uncasville, Connecticut. The Lansdowne Pub has daily specials and seafood and steak specials on the weekend. Make the Lansdowne Pub your dining destination when you go to the Mohegan Sun, located on the upper level. And when you're done at the Lansdowne Pub, you want to dance off those calories, come over to the Vista Lounge. Vista Lounge is a DJ on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. And if you want to just kick back and hang out, we are also open the rest of the week. Come on over to the Vista Lounge. The incredible staff will take care of you. And I'm not just saying that because I work there. The staff is amazing. We're all a family. Vista Lounge it's the go-to place if you want to hit up a DJ, go out for a night of dancing. Dress code is strictly enforced. I'm not going to cover the dress code again. I think we've covered that enough.
Common sense.
But dress to impress. And we'll see you at the Vista Lounge.
You may see me there on Friday night.
All right.
I think that's where I'm going. Anyways, are you looking for a used car? How about auto repairs for your current car? Well, with their diesel-certified mechanics, stop in and get your car or truck fixed at Thames River Motor Cars, located at 2090 Norwich New London Turnpike in Uncasville, Connecticut. Just a half mile from the casino. Stop in and see the friendly folks at Thames River Motor Cars.
There's a new transportation service coming to New London County. Dunn's Non-Emergency Medical Transportation Services, LLC. Founder and owner Christopher Dunn has over 32 years working as a healthcare provider in many varieties of medical facilities. He has over 31 years in pre-hospital emergency medicine, and he's still active in emergency medical services today. Mr. Dunn has united a group of experienced, hardworking, and responsible healthcare and EMS professionals to form Dunn's Non-Emergency Medical Transportation Services. Let them take care of your transportation needs. So, all right, today's show is we're going to address the controversy surrounding trans athletes. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have a special guest on today. Now, years ago, I had a friend named Seth Abrams. And we both worked, we both belonged to the Scares That Care charity. And, you know, we both worked for the charity. And we'd sit there in the hotel, like first thing in the morning, we get our coffee. And we'd talk about the alarm system, the sprinkler system.
So random.
Seth was a firefighter, too.
Oh, okay.
He was actually at the Pentagon on 9/11. So we talk about water suppression systems. We talked about everything. Anything to do with firefighting. I mean, it was just...
A connection.
It's what firefighters do.
Yeah.
We sit there and we're looking,
shit.
okay, escape routes over here, escape route over there. Right, we got that there if that happens. And, Seth and I were really good friends. And then, I don't even remember how long ago, a couple of years ago, maybe 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, Seth went away. There was no more Seth. And I didn't see it coming, so it kind of took me by surprise. Mm-hmm. Seth became Jocelyn. And
that's who I know.
Right. And now my good friend Seth is now my good friend Jocelyn. So it's kind of, it took me a while to adjust. You know, like the first year or two down there, I would still be like, hey, what's up, brother? I'd be like, yeah, well, me and him, because I was used to it. But over time, I got used to it. And, when you know somebody for so long, and then the change happens, mm-hmm. it kind of takes you a while to get used to it. So Jocelyn will be on the show today. And
J Money.
J Money, as I call her, J Money. She's going to discuss the controversy with trans athletes with us. Now, speaking of athletes, did you see the Kansas City Buffalo game this weekend?
No. Once the Cowboys were out, I stopped watching.
My God.
I heard all of the games this weekend were by far the best games of like the NFL, like all season long.
This Buffalo Kansas City game had to be hands down the best game I've ever seen.
I heard a lot of people say that.
Now, there's been some classic games that with my Giants, like the Giants and San Francisco championship game, which was amazing. The Giants-Buffalo Super Bowl. The Giants upsetting the Patriots to kill the undefeated season. But nothing compares to what I saw this weekend. It was just... Kansas City got the ball back with 13 seconds left to play. 13 seconds. Mm-hmm. Buffalo kicked it out of the end zone, so Buffalo starts at the... Kansas City starts at the 25-yard line.
Yep.
There is no way in hell they're going to march down the field and get in field goal range in 13 seconds. They did.
Yeah.
Now.
Wish the Cowboys could.
Well, there's a couple things that could have happened with this. Okay, if Buffalo squib kicked the kickoff, they have to run it back. Now you're taking at least 4 to 5 seconds off the clock.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to have the ball deep in their own end with maybe 8 seconds or 6 seconds. So that was number one, kicking it in the end zone. All right, questionable. Playing that ridiculous prevent defense that these teams play, where they sit back and they let you have all of this yardage, was also ridiculous because Buffalo had hands down the number one defense in the league the entire season. So instead of playing their regular defense, they went into that prevent defense, and it didn't prevent anything. Kansas City came down, literally marched down the field, and with 4 seconds left, they kicked the field goal to send it into overtime. And then, talk about controversy. A lot of people have issue with the NFL overtime rule. Okay? It's sudden death overtime.
Yep.
Sudden death overtime means you score first, it's over.
Yep.
Unless it's a field goal. If you get the coin toss, you march all the way down, you get a field goal, the other team gets the ball and has a chance to either come down, kick a field goal, score a touchdown to win the game.
Right.
A lot of people feel both teams should be given a chance. It's sudden death overtime. It's always been this way.
Yeah.
If you don't want the team getting the coin toss and marching all the way down the field, stop them.
Yeah.
Play defense.
Yeah.
You know, don't complain about it. Go out there and play. And that's another. It's a big thing there. Defense is nothing like it used to be. You know, if some of these teams would step up and actually play defense, like if the Buffalo Bills played defense, they may be going to the championship game instead of Kansas City. But the ending of that game, just amazing. I don't care what happens the rest of the way. The Super Bowl, whatever.
Do you have any, but do you care who wins? Like, do you have any?
Yeah, kinda. I would honestly like to see Cincinnati win. Cincinnati's never won a Super Bowl.
Jeff agrees.
And thank you, Jeff. By the way, Jeff is here with us today. That would be Sarah's better half.
That's the first time he's been referred to that. I am the better half. I digress.
So, yeah, Cincinnati's never won. And I really wouldn't mind seeing Cincinnati win. They've played their asses off all season. And I think they deserve it. Do I think they're going to win? Probably not. Kansas City just looks amazing. I think it's going to be Kansas City and the Rams. And but no matter what, nothing's going to compare to that game from last Sunday. It's nothing. It was that good of a game. I mean, instant classic right there. Boom. So, another thing I'd like to mention, I haven't told you this yet either.
Ooh, what's going on?
Well, Lexi is one of the servers at work.
Uh-huh.
And Lexi's going to be competing in her first ever fitness competition. And it's taking place in April at the Mohegan Sun.
Okay.
So Lexi was looking for sponsorship, and I am proud to say that Project Arrowhead Radio Show will be one of her sponsors.
Yay! Well, that's news to me. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Go, Lexi!
So, if you guys have the opportunity, go watch Lexi. Like I said, this is her first competition, and she's nervous. Who wouldn't be?
Is this going to be televised?
I don't think so. I'll ask her tonight when I see her.
Yeah.
I don't think it's televised. But I know her boyfriend, Tom's going to be there supporting her. And everybody at Vista want to shut down and go and support her.
That would be
but
fun.
We'll be there in spirit, cheering her on. So it'll be pretty cool. Now, today's topic is a very touchy topic.
Yes.
I just want to say right now, if you call in, even if you text comments and whatnot, hate will absolutely not be tolerated.
Yeah.
If you come at us with that crap, you're going to be shut off, hung up on, whatever. It's okay to have an opinion.
Answer off.
And, I mean, I know a lot of people do have an opinion. But hateful comments, ignorant comments, they will not be tolerated. So if you even think that your comment could lead that way, don't even bother. Because, like I said, it'll be ignored. It won't be tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm so excited for what Jocelyn has to say. I'm very excited.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, with that being said, let's talk about trans athletes.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion?
Okay. Jocelyn. I just saw her comment.
Oh, I didn't see her.
I ate. Oh, wait. Okay. I don't know. And I feel so conflicted because I understand both sides. I feel like women work hard to make their titles, men work hard to make their titles, and I also think that trans people, no matter what they identify as or what the process is, they should feel included as well. I don't know what the happy medium is for everybody, because I understand women being upset by someone who is born a man and transitions into a woman now has that competitive advantage. I myself as a woman want to think that women in general can do anything just as well as a man, but I understand scientifically that some men do have that advantage. Like, do you understand what I'm saying or no? Or are you just waiting for me to...
You said like, and then I thought you were going to continue.
Oh, no, I don't know. I see both sides, but I also don't think that we should diminish anything that a trans person would do, no matter what they transition from a man to a woman to man, or whatever they identify as. I don't know, and I feel like it's such a touchy subject because I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I don't have any hateful or mean things to say about it. I just don't know what the right thing is. Like, I want everybody to be happy, and I don't know if there is a solution, and that's why I'm so excited that Jocelyn is going to touch upon this subject, because I really want to know what her thoughts are on this, because this is her story, like, this is... I would love to get an opinion from her. That's
sure
what I'm excited to hear today.
Well,
what are your thoughts, Jim?
Scientifically, okay, a male transitioning to a female even with the estrogen and everything else, their body structure, that can't be changed.
Right.
From muscle tone to bones to whatever. That's genetics. Okay, that can't be changed.
Without work done, anyways, right? I
No,
mean,
you can't change muscle. Well, I mean, you could change muscle tone by just letting it atrophy. Males that have transitioned to females are still 25% stronger than somebody who was born as a female.
right.
Okay, and that's a lot. That's
Yeah.
actually a lot. So it does give them an advantage, but at the same time, how do we work that out?
Right.
You know, it's I'm
Conflicted as well.
also
Yeah.
waiting to hear what Jocelyn has to say. Jocelyn actually corrected me because I thought it was Penn State, but it's actually University of Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And I believe that's where Jocelyn graduated from. The swimming team.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to pull that up.
Good.
Yeah, I'm going to because
There is a female on there who was born a male, transitioned, and is now absolutely obliterating all these records and just blowing the females away. From what I understand, this individual was not a scholarship athlete, and all the females who were awarded scholarships and working towards the Olympics, working towards whatever they're working towards, are extremely upset because now they look bad. They can't compete with this individual, and they're actually petitioning to add a third gender. So you'd have the men's team, the women's team, and a trans team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other side,
that's like segregation in a way too, right? Because I feel like.
But is it? I mean, you got men's and women's.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could be right.
I don't know. That's why I feel like. I don't know.
So now I've seen some pretty rotten things on the other side. Some girls who have transitioned into male and went out for the wrestling team and has gotten absolutely destroyed. And some of these people have gone above and beyond because it was like they purposely went out to try to hurt him. But again, the body structure was just not there for him to compete with all these other guys in the wrestling. You know, they're working out, they're lifting, they're doing whatever they need to do, and this poor individual has just been beaten silly. So, what's the answer? Is there an answer?
I don't know. I know as of that, when you posted that article, the NCAA was going to be ruling on it the next day, but I don't see what their ruling was if they did rule on it. I was actually just looking at it.
I don't think they have ruled on it.
They didn't yet?
I don't think so.
Just looking it up. Oh, the facilitator resigns over organization's updated transgender participation policy. Interesting. That was the first thing that popped up when I Googled NCAA. I'm opening up the Boston Herald.
Oh, okay. Now I can see. I can see everything now. I'm like, how come I'm not seeing any comments?
Oh, do you have it on? Do you have everything on that?
I've got comments from every platform on here.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep. So CJ wants to know if the IOC has expressed anything pro or con.
I see CJ's comment now. IOC. What's IOC?
So anyway, while you're looking that up,
What is IOC, CJ?
the
International Olympic Committee.
yes.
Okay. I don't know. I don't see anything.
Why don't we just go back to having a black team, since black athletes can be traced to their genetically superior to that of their white counterparts?
Who's that?
That's a good point. Good point. And Jocelyn does say that it was UPenn. And
Yeah.
Jocelyn, you did graduate from there, correct? I believe so. Well, we can ask
Takes
her.
a minute delay, yeah.
Yeah, we can ask her when she calls in. She put J Money. So I think this is going to be a topic of discussion that's going to go on for a long time. You know what I mean?
So it looks like the NCAA rejected pleas from the parents of female Ivy League swimmers to restrict women's sports to biological females. The NCAA reaffirmed its longstanding policy in favor of transgender participation in women's sports. Yeah, so it looks like they still can continue to compete within the NCAA. I'm looking at the IOC right now.
Now, Caitlyn Jenner, who, unless you're living under a rock, used to be Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner has won multiple Olympic gold medals in, I forgot what it was. Was it cross country or something like that? She came out in favor of the parents and the girls, saying that there should be a third division incorporated because of and like the science just said, 25% difference in a man and a woman's body, that they should have a third division. And 85% of both. It didn't break it down to how many people were trans that commented. It just said the majority. But 85% agreed with Caitlyn Jenner. So I don't put too much faith in those polls because you don't know how many people they talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, did they talk to 20 people?
Also, why is everybody just using Caitlyn Jenner? Like, there are other trans people.
She spoke up on it. That's why.
I know, but I don't know. It just seems like anytime there seems to be a controversy, it's always Caitlyn Jenner weighing on it. Like, there are other trans people that can...
Well, yeah, but in this situation, Caitlyn Jenner was an Olympic athlete.
Yes.
And that's why.
Yeah, I'm just talking about in general. Like, anything. It's always Caitlyn Jenner. It's always... Like, there are other trans people. They do exist. Like, they can wait. I understand this situation because former Olympian, I get it. I digress. I apologize.
It's always Caitlyn Jenner and it's always the Kardashians. It's, if they're not getting their face and their voice out there on everything, and I can't stand any of them. I despise the Kardashians.
But here we are talking about them. They're winning.
No, they're not. Their show got canceled. So, good.
I can't see it.
So I guess I don't know. I really, really have to do a lot more research on it to even. I just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think.
I mean, if the NCAA's already ruled on it, as you said.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what they hope to accomplish.
The NCAA or?
The NCAA.
I think they're hoping to accomplish a more. I think they're just trying not to be exclusive. Which I get. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's there might be another way to be inclusive. But again, there's that fine line. Like what? I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's all like so it's gray. I don't know. Oh no, Jim. This is so hard.
I told you it wasn't going to be an easy topic to discuss.
No.
And
did you see Jeff's? Jeff says 3 groups: men, women, and all inclusive. Anyone that wants to participate can. That's actually kind of a neat idea.
Mm-hmm.
3 categories where. But so you're saying that anybody who's trans would not be able to be in the men or women's. They would have to be in that inclusive one.
Unless men and women wanted to take part in the all-inclusive group.
Right, I guess.
So that would be open for everybody.
But then doesn't that inclusive group mean that the men's and women's would be exclusive, which would then be not nice? I don't know.
I have no idea what you just said.
Well, okay, so the way it was like there's 3 groups: men, women, all inclusive. So that would mean the men and women are exclusive.
I need Latte to help me out. Oh, that right. Sure.
I don't know. I mean, I love the ideas. If you guys have ideas, I want to hear them. Let me see if CJ commented. No, I don't see any more CJ comments in YouTube.
So, while we're waiting for J Money.
J Money!
Next week's show is, I'm hoping to have another heartstring puller, true crime story. We're going to discuss the Chadwick murder. I've been in contact with Casey's mom, and hopefully we'll have Casey's mom on the show next week to discuss her daughter's murder.
Ooh, can she come in and do the show, like in person, or just call
probably
in?
not.
Oh, okay.
And we'll get her thoughts on what's happening in the judicial system right now as she prepares for yet another trial.
Do you know, I think about her a lot.
Do you?
I think about her situation in my apartment and how that could happen to me.
Yeah.
Because I live in the same town, and
it's a very rough story, but we'll have it on. So next week we're gonna have a true crime story on, and get the tissues ready.
J Money's calling in to give us that honey.
I think. I don't know what's happening over here.
We're trying to connect J Money.
It's connected.
J Money, you're on the air.
What's going on, Jim?
What's up? How are you?
I am doing well. Hi, Sarah. I hear you.
Hi.
I heard you. Hello. How is everyone doing today?
Good. We're so excited for you to be on today because obviously this is a very controversial topic, and I don't think that anything, well, not to say that our opinions don't matter, but I think your opinion and those of the trans community kind of have a heavier opinion in my mind.
I
value
did
that.
Follow what you were saying on the way out because I just wanted to be up to speed on the show. So I saw that you both had some opinions based on what you personally feel, which is good. And you're absolutely right. This is a debate, a controversy, a topic that is going to be discussed forever, and it has been discussed forever.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, if we look back at the U.S. Open and the decision in 1977, I believe, in regards to Renee Richards, who is a transgender athlete. She had competed prior. She had her gender reassignment surgery in 1975 and then competed in the U.S. Open in 1977, in which, I might add, she lost.
Mm-hmm.
But she did compete. So it has been a discussion that has really gone on forever. But I will disagree with you on one thing, Jim.
Sure.
Caitlyn
Just
Jenner
one?
just one so far. Caitlyn Jenner was never an Olympic athlete. Bruce Jenner, and this is the only time I'll make that distinction.
Yes.
Bruce Jenner was a Olympic athlete. Caitlyn Jenner has never competed. Therefore, her opinion is strictly that, her opinion.
Right.
She has no factual basis, and really with the things that she's spouted out over the years, she shouldn't have any opinion that holds any weight with anybody. But that's just me.
So, Jay, let's before we talk about the athletes and everything, would you mind sharing your personal story?
I was born. Years later, I did stuff, and eventually
Now you're here.
There's my story. No, I. Where would you like me to start, Jim? Let's go there.
Well, I don't know if you were listening. I talked about how years ago we became friends, and at that point I had become friends with Seth.
Right.
And I talked about how we were at Scares That Care, and we were talking about the most ridiculous firefighting stuff. Alarm systems and water suppression, and just waiting.
And the fact that the fire alarm seemed to go off every time we have a Scares event.
Yep. And then you really didn't say anything to anybody, and I believe I was doing the show, and I said, "Hey, what's up, brother?" And you sent me a message that said, "Well, I don't think that applies anymore," which confused the hell out of me.
Right. And let me interrupt on that. You're right on multiple things. I did not tell you, nor did I tell a lot of people before the transition.
Yep.
Now, when I initially came out as far as my desire to transition, I was 3.
Wow.
Really?
So, yeah. I knew at a very young age who and what I was. Now, with that being said, I was also in a Baptist school at the time.
Yep.
And was told, no, unacceptable, keep it under wraps by both the people who ran the facility and my mother, because she was, this is the 70s, 80s, she was afraid of reprisals.
Right.
And justifiably so. I think we've all seen, what can happen, both with Tina Brandon and Matthew Shepard, and we can name millions and millions. So I can understand her fear.
Right. Absolutely.
And I pretended and maintained. I don't want to say pretended because I didn't necessarily pretend by ignoring. But I lived as hyper-masculine as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Even though during those years since 1990, maybe, is when I came out as bisexual to my mother. At which point she looked at me and said, "Okay, that's fine," but her boyfriend was hers. And she said his name, and I laughed. And I'm like, he's not even my type, but okay, I can understand that. So I had, boyfriends, girlfriends during my entire life. But again, like you said, lived with that quote-unquote secret.
Mm-hmm.
Was a firefighter, was a fire marshal. I maintained a very masculine life.
Yeah.
A facade.
For lack of a better word, a facade.
Sure.
Because it really was not who I was, but who I was,
Yep.
And you've met the kids, Jim. You know that I've obviously had children.
And speaking of the kids, there's this girl named Kimberly Adams who says, "Hi, Maddie."
That does not surprise me at all. She wanted to listen, and I told her, I was like, just get the link from Jim.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know it, and then I messaged you and got it. So,
Yeah, I sent it to her.
hello, Kimberly.
And Beth wants to know how old you are, if you don't mind sharing.
I'm 42.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. And you said her name was Beth?
Yes.
Hi, Beth. Yes, I'm 42. So yeah, I lived as masculine a life as possible. I was with my ex-wife for 15 years. As obviously as a male, was not an Olympic athlete. It never even occurred to me to be an Olympic athlete. However, now, I am thinking about it because, it seems like just a heck of a good time. Maybe I'll start my own team.
There you go.
host. Or, I could take a page out of Dennis Leary's book and just call my team the DBs. And when people ask what it means, I just say the douchebags. So, but yeah, there's me up until now. About 5 years ago, you're right, Jim, is when I started the transition. I did go from being Seth to being who I am today, which is Jocelyn.
Mm-hmm.
I came home from work today, and before I called you, Jim, I did use my gender-neutral bathroom here in the house. In case anyone's worried, it's a gender-neutral bathroom. No one felt uncomfortable at that time. But anyway, so I'm done joking for now. Continue.
Good.
I'm good. I'm caught up. So I think that would about brings us up to where we are now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Now,
so
I did mention that you were at 9/11. You want to talk a little bit about that?
I was at dispatch to 9/11. Yes, I did some time at the Pentagon and did some time at Ground Zero.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. Much like Forrest Gump, that's all I can say about that. I don't really have anything else to say about that. And I think you can understand why.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think we just focus way too long on discussing that, and that would detract from what is to be discussed today. So,
absolutely.
Different day, different show.
Yeah, we'll do that in September.
There we go.
We'll do a stories from 9/11 show. So as I was telling,
make sure I'm not listening to that one.
Yeah, it's always rough, always rough.
A little bit.
So I was telling Sarah that right after the transition, I think it was the first year that I saw you afterwards. I don't think you had the surgery yet. It was that first.
No, I didn't have the surgeries. The first time we met, well, not we met, period, but as Jocelyn, yeah, I hadn't had any surgeries at that point.
And knowing Seth for as long as I did, it took me a while to stop saying, "Hey, what's up, brother?" or "Yeah, me and him are going to go down and get coffee," or something like that. Now, do you find that happens more often than not, or not so much anymore?
With you, with people within the charity, no, I don't encounter that so much. Occasionally, Joe will do it,
Yep.
and nobody does it to be malicious. There really is a difference.
Yeah.
But much like many of the athletes that you're discussing, my height has always been an issue. I'm 6'2".
Yep.
So, and obviously musculature and bone structure doesn't change that much with transition. I will disagree with you; it does change a little.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on the person. Scientifically, though, there haven't been enough studies to actually prove whether the changes are overly significant as far as muscle mass.
Mm-hmm.
What I can personally say from my own experience is that I don't want to say I have seen, I have felt my musculature has decreased as far as strength goes. It has. And again, I'm speaking strictly from me,
Right.
not for anyone else.
Right.
So I don't know, but I have seen certain effects personally, such as, I'm not as strong as I was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also have MS, and in case anyone listening doesn't know, that's multiple sclerosis. I was going to say muscular dystrophy. That's MD. No, I don't have MD. I have MS. Little different, same thing. But I don't know if the decrease in muscle can strictly be associated due to the transition and HRT.
Mm-hmm.
My estrogen level replacing that of my no longer existent testosterone level.
Right.
Or if it's because of the progression of the MS symptoms. So, and again, that's why I say I speak strictly for me. I don't know about anyone else's experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you may be entirely right, but you may also at the same time be partially right in the fact that muscle mass and strength cannot be changed through being through transition.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I think just my opinion. I think it's based on the body structure prior to having the surgery.
And that's actually one thing that you said in regards to it not changing. That I was kind of talking to the screen on the way home listening to the broadcast. You're absolutely right. I have seen some absolutely gorgeous women who, believe it or not, are transgender. And it's like, okay, wait a minute. First off, you're amazingly beautiful. How the hell did that happen? And I'm not. But again, I digress. But you're absolutely right. I think it has everything to do with the person beforehand and how they were themselves. I've seen some people that you can look at them and you can tell that, their body size, their frame, their musculature was that of the opposite sex. And I don't want to say they had a female body or a male body, because I have seen some trans men who you could never tell they were women. I mean,
right.
Legitimately, they have the same musculature, the same body mass. They have everything you would consider of a cis or genetic, as it used to be known, genetic male. So it really depends on the person. You're absolutely right in that.
I mean, if you're 6'5" and built like an NFL linebacker, there's really not much you can do about that. You're going to be 6'5" and built like an NFL linebacker.
But I feel like a female could be born that way too, though.
Sure, of course.
Well, you're absolutely right too, Sarah. There are NBA players, female NBA player or WNBA players that are 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", 6'9".
Right.
They have a larger body frame, and if you were to judge strictly based on that frame, if you were just to take those measurements into mind, you would not be able to tell male or female. So I absolutely agree with you. Gina Davis, Oscar-winning actor, actress, whatever they go by now, actor, actress, person of acting descent, I don't really know. She's 6 feet. She has a larger frame. If you look at the comedian Tracy Gold, a genetic female, a born female, she's 6'3". I mean, to say, a person is genetically disposed to be bigger or smaller based upon the gender they were assigned at birth, there's no true basis upon that, because we've had it for hundreds of years.
So do you think that social media, which has been the devil for multiple things,
Right.
do you think that has helped or hurt the trans community?
It's a bit of a mixed bag when looking at it that way. One of the things you mentioned, I think Sarah mentioned earlier, was about why does everyone go to Caitlyn Jenner? Why is she brought up for everything trans-related? And I think social media does have a lot to do with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because she is so out as far as celebrity opinion,
Right.
and also celebrity athletics. Laverne Cox, another beautifully, amazing trans woman, a very, very talented actress. We don't hear as much regards to trans athletes. Well, Laverne Cox says this. No one says that because she was not an athlete. She has not made her opinions known in that. So social media does have kind of like that niche basis, that niche following. I don't necessarily want to say that it's hurt or helped
Right.
the trans community and activism in general, and even information, because there's so many things that can be focused on when it comes to being transgender and the involvement of social media. I think social media has brought it a lot more into the forefront of our society. Just like social media has done the same with political stance and social stance and, economic stance and, media around the world, because we see it every time we turn on our Facebook or Instagram or what Snapchat or TikTok, we see someone from, either, God forbid, the Kardashians. I had to say it because you mentioned how much you hate them earlier, and and I don't believe that family got anywhere near where they are. But we see it. It's put into the forefront. We can't ignore it like we used to. To digress from being transgender, I would say school shootings. School shootings have become so common and popular place in our society to see.
Right.
But are there more today than there were 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago? It can be argued, yes, by, if you put the studies together, but your knowledge of them, your knowledge of what happened, from where I am in Virginia to where you are in Connecticut, I wouldn't know what was going on up there 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Sure.
It might take a couple of days to trickle down here, whereas right now, in the current society we're in, with our advent of social media and technology, I can find out what's going on in Connecticut immediately.
Within seconds,
I can see it, everywhere I look. Just like you were pulling up the IOC earlier, Sarah, and you were able to just type in the internet, NCAA, IOC, whatever, and see those results, where we might have not have seen them for another day, 2 days, 3 days for them to get here, 30, 40 years ago, before social media really had its finger on the pulse of today's society. So with that, I do think transgender rights, transgender topics are more prevalent today based upon their exposure within the social media platform.
Right.
Well, you mentioned school shootings, and that kind of brings me to my next point. The social media gives people a platform for hate. It gives them the ability to say stupid shit that they would never say years ago,
or even in person.
I mean,
right. I absolutely agree with you, Sarah. In person is the biggest, thing that we're no longer seeing. People feel that that protection, that anonymity of saying things online. You're both right, Sarah and Jim, because people are saying things more on anonymous websites, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, than they would say in person.
I call them keyboard warriors.
Exactly. Keyboard commandos.
Yeah. We had
telephone tough guys.
We had arguably the worst school shooting in the history of this country here in Connecticut. And the amount of ridiculous comments, how it was fake, it was staged, some of the stuff that is coming out, it's sickening. I know people that were there, first responders that were there, and I mean it's messed them up. But it's the same thing, whether it's a school shooting, whether it's the LGBTQ community, whether it's Black Americans. It's given them a platform for hate, and I think what needs to be done is these companies, these platforms, really need to start clamping down on it.
Well, I think they have, especially Facebook.
They try.
Also, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because I think that also, while it has been a place for hate, I think it's also been a great place for people gather in groups of people that may be going through the same thing that they're going through. It has been, I think it's good for raising awareness. Obviously, if the information is coming from a true source, but also just giving people that opportunity to meet other people like them as well, no matter what it is. Like, I could join a group that's literally for people who like cats and guns at the same time. Like so obscure is what I mean. So like it does give you this sense of being able to find people like yourself and being able to spread awareness and being able to get positivity out there, but at the same time it's still that channel for hate as well. So it's like both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely agree. It really is, Sarah. It truly has opened up, the world to different groups, to allow them to have that interaction that they might not have had before.
Right.
And unfortunately, that does transcend to hate as well.
Absolutely. So, J Money, I got a question here. It says, "Hi, Jocelyn. I'm curious if you have any siblings, and if so, were they supportive of your transition?"
I do have siblings. I actually have several siblings. My sister, Amanda, even though she is a Trump supporter, I won't hold that against her, and she has strong opinions, as we all do on touchy subjects. She has been remarkably supportive of my transition. Matter of fact, she refers to me as Josie Grossi. She is the only one, by the way, Jim, who is allowed to say that.
Cough, Jim. All
right.
Hey,
so
I got J Money. That's my.
Exactly.
I'm copyrighting it. Whatever. That's it.
Yep. You're the only one who has ever been allowed to call me J Money, and will be allowed to call me J Money, just like she's the only one allowed to say Josie Grossi. My youngest brother and sister are actually the same age as Kimberly and Anthony. So 17 and 13 respectively. And for the most
Wait a minute,
part,
Kimberly 17?
Yeah, I know. It's shocking and terrifying at the same time.
Wow.
But remember, I just became a grandmother too.
Mm-hmm.
And Jennifer had a baby. So, I'm not feeling the whole being a grandmother at 42 thing. Feel a little bit rednecky at the moment, and the fact that I'm living in Virginia doesn't help. It's even worse that she's in Alabama. So, but they haven't been supportive, but they haven't been unsupportive. And let me explain why. The main reason that they've been neither, and not that they don't know or anything, but they're not necessarily involved. They live with, obviously, they live with my mother in New Jersey. I don't have a whole lot to do with my family because of my transition. Whereas my mother and I do talk. We FaceTime, we talk, she actually sent down a playhouse for one of our outside pigs. So, but she has kept my transition from my grandparents.
Oh.
Okay.
Because my grandfather is, in his 90s. He was ambulatory and very well aware of his facilities up until, a couple of years ago. And he's still mostly there, but he does get agitated very easily. And this is one of those things that would agitate him, and we don't want that. Therefore,
right.
I have unfortunately stayed away from from them during this. My grandmother unofficially does know.
Mm-hmm.
She will not say anything to my mother about it because, obviously my grandparents, as in both, are not to know.
Right.
But she knows, and she's always been supportive.
Aw, that's
That's great. And going along with CJ's question, as I said before, we are both reps with Scares That Care, and we work the charity together. How has the support from everybody in Scares That Care been?
Actually, it's been amazing. And to say it's been amazing is not just for those that are employed or affiliated with Scares, such as the CEO, Joe Ripple, who is obviously all of our friends, the board of directors, Graham, all those, but also includes a lot of the talent that we have at Scares. They have been very supportive.
There may have been some incriminating photos of you and Sean Patrick Flannery, but we won't go there.
There may be. There might be. And I might have given my shoe information for my high heels to Costas Mandalore to give to his girlfriend so that she could get the same pair. There may have been some of that. No, but they have been very receptive. Matter of fact, this past year, both myself and Dana Ward had a panel at Scares That Care, a Q&A type panel about being transgender. And Joe reached out to me to say, hey, would you mind inviting, or for us to send an invite to your ex-wife's husband, because Angel, her husband, is transgender as well.
Oh.
Right.
And I was like, well, heck yeah, I don't mind at all. Because, yes, Dana and I can definitely tell you all about being male to female. Granted, my experience and my surgeries are different than that of Dana and her experience and her surgeries. And both of our experiences are completely different than that of Angel. Not only from going from a female to a male, but, everything, including her family, her growing up, her past, her present, and what will eventually be her future as far as possible surgical options should she choose that route. And I just did the same thing that you were talking about, Jim. I referred to Angel as a she, and I didn't mean to do that.
It's not easy.
You learn and you know someone a certain way, and then things change. When I first met Angel was dating my ex-wife as a woman. They were in a lesbian relationship.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
now,
I met them at Scares That Care.
You did, yeah. And that was, 3-4 years ago?
I think so. Well, I've known your wife for, Christ, how long? As long as I've known you?
Yeah, I was about to say, you've known my ex-wife for close to 7 years.
Yeah. Well.
Yep.
The
now, as far as the talent goes, the only person that ever had, I won't say an issue, but didn't understand being transgender was Boone Jr. When we had the Sons of Anarchy panel.
Yep.
And his exact words were, I don't really understand it. I don't know much about it, but whatever, But he wasn't negative. So,
Right.
I really haven't had any negative experiences.
That's good.
And, the celebrities that we bring in for Scares That Care, you know how carefully handpicked they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the most down-to-earth, most understanding, fantastic celebrities that you ever want to meet. And some of them are, you're like, wow, that person's really cool.
And the negative image that so many people have of the horror community, yet here we are.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that Joe had that and has made that transgender panel.
Right.
Because, Scares That Care is one of the only charities that has a, full-time transgender staff member. Mm-hmm. And I'm not working behind the scenes. I'm not hidden. I'm forefront. I'm being seen by everyone there.
Yep.
So, the fact that they're as open as they are is wonderful. And maybe that is also a sign in relation to the transgender athlete debate. Maybe this is the time, and that's why we're seeing so many transgender athletes. They feel that it's time. They feel comfortable coming out now, competing now, whereas, 30, 40, 50 years ago, they didn't. And that's the same with anyone within the LGBTQ community. It wasn't acceptable years ago, whereas it's become more commonplace now.
Well, you've created a legacy. I don't know if you know that or not.
I don't.
Well, this past summer, I was at work, and who comes walking in but Ross Marquardt from Walking Dead? Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey. And Christine, his agent, she came up. She's like, hey. I was like, hey, what's going on? So I told my manager, I'm like, hey, look, I'm gonna get a table for Ross and his party. And he's like, who's Ross? I'm like, he's from The Walking Dead. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. So
I'm trying to see who that is.
I brought Ross and Christine and Asia over to the table, and Christine's like, yeah, Jim is he's the state rep for Scares That Care. And Ross lit up. He goes, Scares That Care. He goes, oh my God. He stood up, gave me a hug. He goes, you guys are amazing. He goes, what you guys do is so fantastic. He goes, the acceptance of the LGBTQ and just, I mean, he lit right up.
Yes, Nadine. It must have been Nadine and Seth Gilliam, who must have clued him into that.
Seth is his best friend.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah, Seth is his best friend, and
yeah.
It was just, and there was there's two conventions that I have to work. He said Scares That Care, and then there was another one that he said, and they're like the only two that are so pro LGBTQ that he really wants to work them. And I literally sat there for 45 minutes just having a talk with him, and I mean, he was so down to earth, such a nice guy.
He's funny.
He was funny.
Yeah.
He said.
I remember you told me about him.
Yeah, he was great.
And how much you enjoyed it. So
he's like, hey, stop down at my booth tomorrow. He goes, I'll sign some pictures for you that you guys can raffle off for the charity. And I did. I went down there, and he had a stack of pictures that he autographed. And he was just a stand-up guy. But he heard about it, and you're probably right. It was probably Seth.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Seth was very down to earth when we were there, and seemed to want to know more. Whereas Nadine just took everything at face value. I was Jocelyn. That's all she knew, and she didn't care.
All the Walking Dead stars that we've had there have been so fantastic. And again, it goes back to hand-picking the celebrities that we have coming in.
Yeah.
I just said that Sean Patrick Flannery. And for anybody listening that don't know who Sean Patrick Flannery is, if you've seen the Boondock Saints, He's one of the McManus brothers. He was also in several of the Saw movies. He did.
He was, and Powder. I mean, he was Powder.
Yep.
You know, for those of us who, you know, watched that movie when we were younger, he was Powder.
Yep. And he was on a soap opera for the longest time, I believe.
Was he?
Yeah, he's so used to he plays these badasses, especially the McManus brothers, and he was probably one of the funniest celebrities we've ever had in there.
He was absolutely hysterical. I will never forget him during the trick or treating, getting on the floor with the kids,
Yep.
just to give them candy, and not, you know, I say kids, people listening might think my kids. No, these random strange kids, you know, not affiliated with charity, because we do the trick or treat march every year.
Yep.
And he got down with these kids face to face, you know, just to give them candy, let them know that he's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
He had amazing energy and was incredibly down to earth, unlike you know, some celebrities, and we won't name any names, where you go through a handler to a handler to a handler,
Yeah.
and you eventually get to see your celebrity.
Yep.
So,
And just
yeah,
to touch on that a little, what we do is we buy the candy, and we will put a big bucket of candy on every celebrity's table.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have a line of probably 100 kids all dressed in their Halloween costumes. We'll pull everybody away from the table so that the kids can come through, and they just have like a little parade, and they go table to celebrity to celebrity to celebrity, trick-or-treating. And the celebrities absolutely love it. Sean was great. One of the best was Sid. Sid Haig.
Sid
was
amazing when it came to that.
I miss that guy.
Yeah, and another one who is really good and who gets into it is Pruitt.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Pruitt's really good. Kane
really
Hodder.
Gets into it.
Yep. And these kids just they love it. Absolutely love it. And
they do. And you and I can sit here and dish about the charity to everybody all day long, all year long, because we never get tired about it.
No, absolutely. It's I can't even put it into words. You have to be there to experience it. It's not like going to a
it's not
convention.
Like anything that can be experienced. I mean, nobody can experience it until you actually go there and experience it in person.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
can't be described.
Nope,
no one will ever really understand it.
Even the celebrities say that. They're like, this is like nothing I've ever done before. This is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I want to touch on Joe for a second, because him and I we were going back and forth on TikTok the other day because I saw him on there. Joe saw a video of a kid crying. Now, I say kid, we're probably talking teenager. This kid was crying because his parents wanted nothing to do with him because he either came out as gay or whatever. So Joe posted a video, and he said, if that ever happens, you can contact me. I will be your parent.
Aww.
Yep.
And the other day when he was on there, he had, I don't know, it was a few hundred people watching his live video. And there were several people calling him dad. And he explained that he put that video out, and within minutes of putting that video out, had all these people reaching out to him because they had been going through that. And
yeah, and there's no one on their side, on our side.
Yep.
You know, and you know, that's it really, I can't express how important what Joe does and what Joe says, how that affects those of us within the trans or LGBT community. As a simple thing as getting our pronouns right, saying our current and correct name, those things go miles. You know, it's the same with the whole debate on should schools allow transgender athletes to compete. And I'm not talking the Olympics. I'm not talking professionals. I'm talking schools, kids, post, pre-secondary and further schools. These programs can mean life and death. And I know it sounds almost like an exaggeration, but it's true.
It is true.
Life
Very
and
true.
death. I was on the wrestling team, for 1 year. I wasn't good. I'll admit that I was terrible. I was on the football team. I played the left bench. I might have been looking at some tight ends. That can be taken so many different ways.
Oh, sure could.
There's exactly. See, Sarah,
As long as you weren't a wide receiver, you're good.
I was not a wide receiver. I occasionally did use right guard, but that was a little different.
There goes our PG rating.
Exactly. Well, I have heard you drop the S-bomb a few times.
That was me.
I may have done it too. When I get spun up
You
and
both
start
did.
hollering, Latte loves it.
Whatever works. I mean, heck, you can see it on TV nowadays. But, if it weren't for programs like that, and I've seen it in others who are in the LGBTQ community, they may not have that social interaction, that sense of community belonging, and even, for lack of a better word, the love that they're missing at home. They're missing with their family.
Sure.
Step family, a foster family, whatever their individual case may be. So it's really important that the Title IX decision does include transgender athletes. But on that as well, if you look at a lot of the rulings and decisions in regards to transgender athletes have been made for male to female athletes. There are not a lot of decisions that have been made in regards to female to male athletes.
100%.
And what you were saying earlier about physiologically they're different, they're stronger, they're so on and so forth. That can be true with male to female athletes, but it can also be a hindrance for female to male athletes.
Right.
So, I mean, prime example is Angel, my ex-wife's husband. He's 5'5". Granted, he's big. He looks big and thick, but he's 5'5". I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
Yep. I was a firefighter. Who's to say who would genetically be superior in a fight, in a athletic competition of some type? Who knows? But if you were to go strictly based upon that appearance, who knows? It could be myself, or it could be him. So it's really hard to say, and that is, like you said, a debate and a topic that will be discussed, for lack of a better word, for the ages.
Yep.
Where do you stand on that?
Right or wrong. It really is is a mixed bag. Obviously, I stand with transgender athletes.
Right.
Because I believe that they should be able to compete based upon the gender identity they have. And I will say, take that even a step further, I personally would not use a man's bathroom. Now, and this could be prior to my surgeries or whatever, but what was in my panties had nothing to do with the bathroom that I was using. It was what I was comfortable using, what I knew myself to be.
Right.
And that's the same with a lot of athletes. I think they compete as what they are, both physically, regardless of their gender. You know, if you identify as a female, you live your life as a female, you have had surgical intervention as a female, there's absolutely no reason for you to be made to compete on a man's team just because at the time you were born, whether it be 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, when we didn't have any sort of recognition as intersex or otherwise, you shouldn't be forced to compete that way because you're not that.
Right.
You're not a male on a male team. You're not a female on a female team. You are, you know, if you personally identify as female,
you're on a female
yes,
team.
You should be on a female team. If you personally identify as male, you should be on a male team. To say that a person like Angel, who is, for all intents and purposes, a male, should not be forced to compete on a female team just because of her gender identity at birth. Physically, she is just as strong and built as a male. Why shouldn't she use that, you know, to compete? Is she stronger than certain females that she would be lumped with if she were to be put on a female team?
Absolutely.
You know, it's...
Well, Jay, I don't mean to cut you off. We are out of time.
You are.
We are. That was a great show.
It really was. You guys could talk about this all day.
Oh, my God. We'll definitely have to do this again in the future.
We will. And if not this, we can talk about anything else. I love being on with you guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for being a listener, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And
thank you guys for having me.
And wait, you just before we go, you're starting your own podcast, are you not?
I am.
Plug that real quick.
Friends podcast. It's the Lesbian Friends podcast.
I love that.
It will be hosted, and I can thank Holly for that. She helped me come up with the name. But it will talk about everything LGBTQ inclusive under the sun.
Awesome.
Including my experiences being transgender, the transgender athlete issues and controversies that we discussed today.
How he's going to do all the Dunkin' Donut runs at Scares That Care.
Exactly. We'll talk about Scares That Care, I'm sure, left and absolutely right. But it will be on Buzzsprout. It will be hosted by them. So buzzsprout.com, Lesbian Friends Podcast. The email is lesbianfriendspodcast@gmail.com if anyone wants to reach me or has any questions or concerns.
I love that. Well, congratulations to you on that.
Well, thank you, and maybe I'll have you guys on my show.
Ooh.
So that we can talk. So.
Outstanding. All right, my friend, thank you for coming on, and we will talk soon.
Outstanding. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Take care, Jay.
Bye.
All right, great show.
Yeah.
But our time is up, and I got to go to work. So I wanted to mention before I forgot that we want to send our thoughts and prayers out to the Baltimore County Fire Department, who lost 3 of their own this week. I believe it was a roof collapse or a floor collapse, and they answered the last call. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Baltimore County Fire Department and their families.
Absolutely.
And with that being said, we will see you, next week.
See ya.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye.